My role here is Director of Learning and Teaching, and I have been at Macquarie Law School since 2006. Prior to that, I taught at the University of Sydney Law School. I very much enjoy being here at Macquarie. It really has defined me as an academic, and defined me as a scholar, and defined me as a teacher. And I owe that in a large part to the culture and to the community of both students and colleagues that are present here at Macquarie. So I'd like to talk to you about a few things, just to give you a bit of an overview in terms of studying law at Macquarie University. There are, of course, both undergraduate and postgraduate options. I will mention the postgraduate option only briefly because there will be a separate postgraduate evening, information evening, on the 15th of October, right here. There are two postgraduate pathways. There's a Juris Doctor for accreditation eventually towards practicing law, and there's also a Master of Laws for those who already hold an LLB. Now the undergrad, and I put 1 to 2 years because the framework may be changing over the next year to 2 years under the new tertiary education system that's evolving in Australia. Now, at undergraduate level, which I presume is the main interest of all of you here today, you have two options for undergraduate study of law. One is our new 4-year LLB program, which is first offered from next year. And the other is the double degree, which is a combined award, essentially, of both a Bachelor of Laws LLB and another bachelor program. The first is completed in 4 years, and the second is completed in 5 years, where you obtain both bachelor qualifications. There are a number of pathways, and this will be more easy to read, I think, after the fact, but there are a number of pathways to gain entry into our programs. The most direct and obvious one is direct entry, which is based on your ATAR requirement for entry into one of the either double degrees or the single award. But we have also two additional pathways which are worth thinking about for those of you that are sitting just on the cusp and not quite sure what you should do in terms of your ATAR, if it just isn't quite where the cutoff is for this year's intake. We have two options. One for students who have a 93 ATAR or higher for next year. We will allow those students who enroll in another bachelor program at Macquarie University to be part of the pre-law pathway, which is a commitment from the law school to allow you to enroll into the first 4 units of the compulsory program. And upon satisfactory completion, i.e. passing those first 4 units, you can then be transferred directly into one of the double degrees or into the 4-year program, depending. So that's an alternative that we've decided to make available to students who may elect to go to another institution where a lower ATAR may be accepted, and then seek to transfer across after their first year into Macquarie, which we have seen happen on a certain degree of frequency. And it's better in our view, and certainly my view, for students to start in an institution and finish at that institution because you benefit from the whole program that has been designed to produce a particular type of graduate. So rather than starting somewhere else and then aiming to come across to Macquarie, I would encourage those of you who are within that ATAR range of a 93 to a 96 to consider the pre-law pathway here at Macquarie. In other words, enrolling in another bachelor program, communicating with the law school directly, and then joining our pre-law pathway. For those of you that have less than a 93, there is, of course, another pathway. At the end of your first year of study, successful completion of 24 credit points, including one of our LEX units, you can then apply for, again, the pre-law pathway after your first year of study at Macquarie University. So that provides as many options and alternatives as possible and gives opportunities for students to pursue a career as a legal professional and not be predetermined for the rest of their lives by their ATAR. So we'd like to give that opportunity. You can prove your worth and prove your measure, basically, while you're at university. It's a fresh start for everybody, and we'd like to encourage everyone to have that chance. So those are the additional pathways. I will speak more about the specific aspects of the undergraduate program next. But first, before I get into the nuts and bolts of them, I'd like to identify a few of the key features of what is distinctive about the Macquarie undergraduate law program. One of the things that we've talked about for many, many years since the inception of the law program here at Macquarie is this idea of law in context. That is, focusing on not just the nuts and bolts of how the law works, but on how law is made, how law changes, and very importantly, how law may change in the future. It's our view that it's a fundamental aspect of being a legal professional that you should understand how laws are developed and created and might change so that you can become proactive members of the profession or any other allied profession that would be advising businesses, individuals, states, organizations in the future. So understanding the social context, the historical context, the political context of the creation and development and changes of law is an absolutely crucial element of being a functioning modern legal professional. This is, of course, going hand in hand with the notion of interdisciplinarity. Lawyers rarely work in isolation of other professions, whether they be social workers, whether they be psychologists, whether they be medical practitioners, whether they be economists, whether they be accountants, and I can keep going on and on. So having that appreciation for other disciplinary perspectives to contemporary problems is also, in our view, a critical aspect of being a functioning modern legal professional. Internationalization is another key feature of our program. At Macquarie, we encourage the study of law in its global context. International law is a compulsory subject for all students undertaking studies in law at Macquarie. And you will find a high concentration of expertise within our faculty on international law. And this is reflected in the broad range of electives that you can take in the program, including international trade law, human rights law, organizations, dispute settlement, law of the sea. Another key feature of the Macquarie program is its flexibility. Once you are in, there is a great deal of flexibility to transfer from a four-year program into a double degree, or vice versa, depending, of course, if you've been strategic in terms of the selection of the units as you go to facilitate that transfer without loss of time. And there can be many good reasons for students going from a 5-year down to a 4-year program and graduating just with an LLB, and conversely, many very good reasons for students to take out 2 bachelor degrees. For example, Macquarie is very well known for the range of exchange opportunities that you have. Fitting an exchange for a semester into the 4-year program, I will say, is challenging, but not impossible, but certainly something that is very flexible and easy to accommodate within a 5-year program. So there are many reasons depending on the student. At the end of the day, it's providing you with some flexibility of choice even once you're in the program. There are, as I mentioned, a number of pathways to get into the program, and there is a great deal of flexibility in terms of design by you as a student. And that includes selecting timetables that conform to your own needs and to your own learning styles. All of our lectures are recorded online, which provides an option for students to either sit into the lectures live or listen to them or review them again, even if they have sat in to listen to them live. And there is a broad range of electives, including areas such as social justice, environmental law and management, and the international laws I've already mentioned. And of course, flexibility in terms of careers. And it's a pity that I put that as a last dot point, because that might actually be the most important dot point for a number of you here. I'd like to emphasize right at this point that a credential of having a Bachelor of Laws in LLB as a degree provides you with a very broad range of future plans and future possibilities. Less than half of students statistically go directly into a traditional practice these days, that is of a barrister or a solicitor at a firm. What is happening with the rest of them? They're engaged in a whole range of professional pursuits, whether that could be in foreign service, working directly for corporations and corporate counsel, or working in management, or working in any number of advocacy settings. So there are a number of futures where a law degree should be viewed as a particular set of skills, a way of thinking, a way of understanding how the world around us works. At some point, every aspect of our lives is impacted upon and affected by a law at some sort. So having this, whether it's as a standalone award or in combination with another award, is providing you with an opportunity to understand how our society works. The Foundations program is also unique within our program here. We have an ungraded transitional foundations unit, which is unique in the Australian legal system. And this is designed explicitly to facilitate your transition into university life and study. It's designed to provide you with an environment where you are mentored as opposed to being assessed. It is to ensure that all students who commence our program, irrespective of background, irrespective of whether or not you've done legal studies at HSC, and irrespective of how well you did or think you did, to have the requisite skill set and foundational knowledge before embarking on the rest of your studies. This model promotes collaboration, it promotes engagement, and it promotes, most importantly, inquiry, posing contemporary problems and challenges, and then having you as students address them from your first day in law. And I'm sure in question period we can address a couple of examples. This is unique, as I've mentioned, and the team which developed this received the Teaching Award this year for this innovative program. The final one, of course, the key feature is that of PACE, which is Participation in Community Engagement. That's what the acronym stands for. And this is to facilitate the other end of your degree, the transition from university life into that of professional life. We have a range of units which are designed to facilitate your linkages, your contact, and your exposure and opportunity to develop your skills that you've acquired at the end of your degree in a professional context, including professional internships locally, international internships, public interest and access to justice, advocacy and leadership in law reform, and we have a specialized unit as well in animal law, which provides opportunities as well. The 4-year LLB, which is the new program that's offered, includes a requirement to complete one of 7 qualifying majors. All 7 of those have built-in interdisciplinarity and units that must be completed from other programs. They are corporate and commercial law, criminology, environmental law and management, international law and global governance, media, technology and law, public policy, law and governance, and last but not least, social justice. So our program, our 4-year LLB program, has a built-in interdisciplinary aspect. And for those of you that were concerned about a lack of breadth from doing a 4-year focused law degree, it is very much in keeping with the spirit of the program, as I mentioned at the beginning. The structure is set out there for you briefly. You can see just in colors for lack of time. Green are your compulsory units, yellow are your law electives, and the orange represents that major, that interdisciplinary major, which is comprised of both law units and non-law subjects. 5-year double degrees are paired of a whole range of programs, as you can see, from media, applied finance, business administration, environment, information technology, science, social science, psychology. A basic structure, which of course will vary from program to program, can be seen as such. And I'll just leave it at that. You will have questions. Please ask them at the end, and I'll hand back to Peter. Thank you.